Welcome to Sober on Purpose, the show where emotional sobriety and the messy reality of loving someone with addiction meet. We're here to help you discover peace, purpose, and healing through Jesus, no matter how chaotic life feels.
Hello, Sober on Purpose family. I'm Tanya Gioia, and I help Christian women who are struggling with a husband that is dealing with addiction. And I have brought Nick, on to talk a little bit about it is somewhat a new modality of helping folks. So tell us a little bit more about what you do and how you got into it.
Okay, thank you, Tanya, for having me. I really appreciate it. So, hello, everyone. My name is Nicolette. I am actually, what got me into hypnotherapy was because of my own trauma with my divorce, that I sort of, how do I say this? I don't want to say stumbled upon it, but it was kind of like my own making, because I had planned my life when I was 17, since I was a kid, that okay, everything should fall into place by 30, right? So, get the good job, get married, settle down, and then but when I hit 30, like what happens next? So off I went. I left home when I was 17 to get that, chase after the external material things. And was when I was at the height of my career, when I was 28, I met my ex-partner then. And then when I was 26, and then fast forward, everything was super quick. He proposed in like 3 months. And
Oh,
then
goodness.
yeah, but then there were red flags, okay? And then my parents even at the time was like, are you sure? Because I was never pegged as the one that would actually get married early. So I was
Well,
like, okay.
let's go back. Let's go to the red flags. Let's start with that. I know you didn't really see them at the time or didn't want to see them at the time, but tell us what those were.
Okay, so I was bending myself over in terms of, so I'm always the over. I took pride in that, because good student, right? So I made sure that I get good grades. So that means good paying jobs. At the time, my partner was earning not so. He was like subpar to what I was earning, but then and he was younger, and he was only 24.
Mm.
So yeah, so and then there were traits of him that did not seem very ready for a marriage or commitment or a union, because he was the type that was not so the reserved kind of person. But when he saw me, it was this eccentric being that, oh, it's like I've now taken myself out of the shell, and I've met this super cool person, because I was out there already. So when we came into union, it was like him trauma bonding with me, and he was like attaching himself, now that I understood it. And I was the person that always, studied. So I never had any boyfriends until I
Mhm.
was in college. So that was 20. So he was like my second long-term partner at the time. And then I was like, oh, when he proposed, I was like, oh, maybe this is it. This could be my person. And I always had this notion of, if I don't do it, I don't want to regret not doing. I don't want to go in the future, 5 years after, and say, what would have happened had I just, gone ahead with the marriage, if I did not go through it. So it was more of a gamble to me. And can you
Yeah.
imagine, I gambled my own marriage. And because where I'm based at the moment is in Malaysia, so we had to, uh switch religion, on paper. So it's like, again, with my mom and dad, are you sure, yada yada. So strong-headed, be strong-willed, let me bear all the consequences. So I went ahead. And then
But now wait, I want to slow you down just a minute. What were you thinking when you were being asked to make all of these changes? Were you were you talking to yourself and saying, I can handle it, it'll be okay? Or were you just going along? What was going on inside of you?
Tanya, I think I was lying to myself that everything will sort itself out. So yes, so it was like, no, the universe is like, okay, I'm gonna give you this. Because I remember praying, because I remember I had at the time I was like involved with another dude, and we separated. I was like, you know what? Let me meet the love of my life after this. Please let this be the one. So came along this my ex-partner, and I was like, okay, this must be it. So I took everything with like a package, where the package should have been like, this shiny golden wrapper, but then you didn't know there's actually holes behind it, or it was hollow. Okay.
Right.
So
Right.
but I was just mesmerized with the glitter wrapping paper around outside
And
of.
when you got inside, it was kind of hollow on the inside.
Yes, hollow.
What was, I'm really digging deep here. What was going on inside of you that you were willing to accept the glitter?
Because I was attracted, or I was forcing myself that I wasn't lovable enough to keep my standards. And I wasn't patient enough to wait for, the person who's actually to my level. No, not to be arrogant or whatnot, but it was more of me having pity towards my ex-partner, because he just got out of a very abusive relationship. So he attached himself to be very much, and we became very enmeshed together. And every time I want to pull away, the more he was like trying to guilt trip. And that was also a question on how much I loved myself. So I remember, after all of the fiasco, I got through, the divorce was finalized. So I was in my grieving. I started my spiritual awakening. That's another story of its own, on its own. I got into all different modalities, Tanya, astrology, anything I could get my hands on. And then this friend of mine, I never knew him, but we got to know it through a mutual friend, each other through a mutual friend, and he was like, Nick. So I was asking me questions like, who am I going to end up with? You see, the very limited questions, like, who externally, I was asking externally, I wasn't looking within. And the first thing he said to me, he repeated this 4 times over. We never met, but we sat down for 5 hours straight. And he's like, Nick, you need to love yourself. That's it. You need to love yourself. And I was like, what do you mean by loving myself? I take myself on to salons, body massages, get my nails done. What do you mean I'm not loving myself? You need to love yourself. And I'm like, okay, never mind. Let me marinate. So I marinated on it for 4 years.
Oh my goodness, for a long time.
Yes, and that's how I started looking within. I started really unraveling why I feel all this unworthiness of love, unworthiness, because when you're somebody who's actually really focused on studies, and that, say, you nailed this part, so you want to try and nail the love department. So I was like, okay, if I can nail this, I'm going to use the same system in the love department. But it doesn't work that way, Tanya, because humans are complex. But then again, the juxtaposition of it, humans are actually quite simple, because the basic tenet of it is just love. But again, that's like the me understanding it after the uncovering, peeling off the layers of my insecurities, why I felt that way. And then so I came across RTT, popularized by Marissa Peer. So it's actually a combination of therapy, Gestalt, where it's neuro-linguistic programming, hypnosis, and cognitive behavioral therapy, and mindfulness. So so it was like me again. I always had this this drive within me that, okay, I can transmute anything, pain, into power. Let me use it to my own advantage, to fuel for whatever I'm going to do next. Because slowly, as I returned back to myself after the divorce, I'm like, Nicolette never changed. I just lost myself. So it's okay.
Say that one more time.
Nicolette never changed. I just lost myself in the moment.
You lost yourself, and you've already described it as the glitter
Yeah.
When your friend was saying you need to love yourself, was that even pre-marriage that you were struggling with loving yourself, or did that happen after?
Yes, pre-marriage, because I was tying this, like I said, like I got carried away by the notion that everybody around me when they were 20 at the time, 20, 21, they already had boyfriends. So
Mm.
I was like, I felt left out. Like, should I, what am I? Yeah. So I dabbled into that, but then it didn't work out with the first relationship. So I got super heartbroken because it was like, whenever I set my heart into something, if this is the person, I'm gonna go 1,000% into the relationship. So that didn't work out. So I was like, shoot, this is not as straightforward as it is. This is not as linear as it is studying
Mm-hmm.
or
Right.
climbing your
Right.
way up. So, and the nuances came in when you haven't healed all this conditioning that I had before, because I also I don't want to, how do I say this, I attribute it to my upbringing, because when I looked back, my parents, especially my dad, has always um, taught us, me and my sister and I, to be, you gotta stay strong on your own feet, be independent. And I'm like, okay, so I am projecting this um uh, expression of myself that I should be that. And this, later after that, I needed to understand that we all have divine feminine, divine masculine. So I
Mm-hmm.
was always in that divine masculine. And also, Tanya, in that failed, I would say, that relationship, the loss of that relationship, it takes two to tango. So the ruins of that relationship was, I cannot attribute it to just that one party, my ex-partner, because at the time I did not, I didn't go in fully aware, and wasn't fully, I would say, I don't want to say enlightened, because we're always on the way until we're 6 feet underground, you know?
Right. Right.
Yeah. But I understood so much that it starts from me, and how I determine the reality. I set the standard. I set, and it's okay if that, for as much as you love that person, it's actually the emotional attachment that you have towards that person that makes them special. Do
Right.
you, I'm sure you have encountered this, Tanya, or towards a friend or family member, that you love them very much, but once you harness your energy back towards you, they're actually ordinary. It's actually your energy that makes them special.
Yes,
Yes.
absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
So if you can, remain in that mindset that it's your energy that lights up the room that you walk into, the house, the family that you build, the colleagues that you work with, you're the beacon. So
Amazing. So you explain the pieces of the therapy, kind of pull that apart and explain, because we're gonna have folks who are like, Gestalt what?
okay,
And
so
how does this come together? And hypnotherapy for people with a Christian understanding can be a little scary. We're not quite sure what that is. So
right.
get real in depth on what that really means and how
Yeah.
it helped you.
Yeah. Yes. Thank you for asking that question. So, Gestalt is a combination of all the solution. So it's, how do I say this? It started with Marissa Peer. So she's we can put a show notes, and in the show notes of how she got into RTT, but it's actually a backed, how do I say, hypnosis. So it's made up of hypnosis,
Mhm.
CBT, talk therapy, mindfulness, and neuro-linguistic programming, and
Right.
neuroplasticity. So what's neuroplasticity? It's rewiring it's the idea that you can rewire your brain, your nerves, the nerves in your brain, to create that synapses, right? Okay, so what's super, what got me into this is that I want to change my reality of, say, okay, I have to be, I'm not worthy of love. I want to
Mm.
be, I want, so that has to start with me. Or I want to get this next promotion, but I need to condition myself to know that I am worthy of it. But there oftentimes, more often than not, we feel that we have that self-doubt, we have that imposter syndrome. So RTT goes in depth as it uncovers your where, how, and why. Actually, how did you acquire these limiting beliefs within you? So it goes back normally to your childhood experiences, trauma that you experience between your past self towards your current self, and repeated conditioning. So if you say, let's say, just a prime example, growing up to the store, I want to buy candy or a fancy pencil case, and I drag my mom with me, and she's like, Mom, I want that, Mom. She's, we don't have money. So I had this notion in my head that, shoot, we don't have money. Why don't we have money? So I use that again. You see, I was fueling that on the negative, the not so good side of things, because I was striving, because I want money, but I was neglecting the essence of myself, whether what I'm doing is it at the expense of my sanity, my mental health, my love life, and my purpose. So bringing it back to your question, how it helped me uncover who I am. It helped me uncover what is it that I am. Why do I feel that I am unlovable and I'm worthy of all the money, all the blessings that's supposed to come my way? And it also, and I always like to challenge myself, take it up a notch by saying, okay, if I can heal me and I can connect myself with like-minded community, I want to build my own community, and I want to help people get through the same thing. So be it relationship or transitioning from your career, because I am very passionate about the business world as well. But because I attracted a toxic organization, and it was prestigious, yes, good pay, but it took a toll on my mental health, until the universe had to nudge me to say, okay, Nicolette, if you don't take sabbatical leave, you're gonna drop dead. At one point, I was pulling all-nighters, and I'm sure people who are listening, who's in corporate America, they can totally relate. So but then getting that qualification, it was not an easy feat. Chartered accountancy, making sure that I got all of that, and then getting that, all of it, like I was checking off my milestone. But at what cost? Life felt devoid especially after that loss of relationship. So it's like the whole reality that I had built based on a false foundation came crumbling down. So I had no choice but to just start from the bottom, because I said to myself, this is the worst I could be right now. Where else am I gonna go? It's just up. So you gotta
So let me back you up just a little bit. So you're attracting toxic partners, but here's what I think is really interesting. You're also working, is it the coincidental that you're also working in a toxic environment?
Yes. And now that you point that out, my ex-partner, we had this very weird dynamic where we would push each other, and it's almost like we're in competition of each other.
So a power struggle going on.
Yeah, that's the word, a power struggle. So it wasn't like built upon yes, there was yes, we loved each other, but because we understood each other, it was like we were mirroring ourselves. The shadow parts of ourselves were like surfacing, and that's why we were trauma bonding. And they said, oh, but then it was literally, it was actually a mask of you figuring out your the things that you need to work on. But we thought that it was soulmate because we were so alike each other.
So this is where it's super interesting, because enmeshment which is not a healthy relationship. If we talk about enmeshment and you're talking about trauma bonding, my wounds are matching your wounds at some level. And so we're bonding over that. We're not two whole people who are coming together to make a new unit. We're two people who are struggling with our wounds and coming in and folding in on top of each other. And enmeshment can look, at least in my experience, can look very passionate, very exciting, very like we're connected. And it has this real dark side.
Yes. And again, what if you ever encountered any relationship, be it platonic, non-platonic, it's like, oh my God, Tanya, I knew I should have met you. Like, it's like I've known you for a lifetime. And then as you get into that relationship, as you try to dive deeper into the relationship, have you ever felt like it's like a roller coaster?
Yes. And you can't get off, because you go to get off and then you think, no, wait, there's enough
Yes.
good here, or there's enough promise or potential or the possibility that it will turn around. Or my favorite line for myself is, I can handle it. It will get better. I can handle it.
Exactly.
It's like that roller coaster. And I like the words in the podcast. You won't be able to see my hands, but you're gripping the bar. Nothing is relaxed. Everything is gripped.
Exactly. And what does gripping means? Muscles are tense. That
Yes.
means you are holding on to something. So can you imagine? Meaning your energy, your flow, your chi, your life force is restricted. And that's how all these things manifest, where you think that hey, this is passionate, but okay, whatever, but okay. I'm trying to how to say, I'm just gonna use my own example. So
Okay.
just recently, I think 2 years back, so I got involved with another person. So after, I'm done healing, because I now understood that you're okay. So you go to this training school when you have, you do your spiritual awakening and whatnot. Like I said, we're never gonna graduate until 6 feet underground. So I go in. So little did I know that I thought that I already graduated. So here I am walking again, my ego self-talking, going out in the dating world. And then so I attracted another person. It was I was like, okay, I know my worth now. I know my worth. And then he was the one pursuing. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna reciprocate unless I'm sure that he is actually the real deal. And by real deal, I had certain I would say like a checklist. Okay, like, okay,
Yeah.
he speaks good and yada yada yada. And then but there were also red flags, Tanya. It started coming out when he would actually say something, and then it would trigger the F out of me. And at the time, I understand. I was like, why would he why would he why would I feel this way now that I have said, quote unquote, healed? That means I need to heal some more. So I so the relationship with him for that 1 year, it was like a test to see whether how far have I come on my timeline, on my healing timeline. And I understood that he was, again, of course, you always needed that you pray the guidance, right? If this is the one, then okay, show me. If this is not the one, then okay, let me, maybe his time in my life is just for this purpose, is for me to reach a new a newer heights, so 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 we it was a very tumultuous relationship, Tanya, but
Right.
it's almost like, hey, I am wiser in the sense that he is triggered and I am triggered. But then because we were on a long distance relationship, that made it even, more difficult.
Sure.
I had all the time in the world to actually reflect and ponder, why is he making me trigger this way, and what is it within me that is not settled, that is not, that I need to still work on. And so I became this, I would say, the bigger person by coming to him and saying this. So let's say if before I would wait for him to come to me, I would release all the expectation and, set the mindset to say, hey, how are you doing? Even though he was the one that actually started, for example, the argument, like he was jealous and whatnot. Because to be honest, if you're jealous, so this is just an example, why you're jealous is because you're insecure, right? And
Perfect.
yes,
Absolutely.
yeah, and at the time I started my podcasting, and he saw me going out, and of course he's a long distance, so I don't know who's he's hanging out with, and for sure. And I talk to people, but I come with a genuine intention because I wanna talk, I want to bring them on to my show, and it's a way, it's very therapeutic for me as well. So but he got the wrong vibe and the wrong intention, saying that, oh, you're too friendly. But people are attracted to me, people are resonating with my story. Now, had I listened to him, that would, made me degrade or made me feel less worthy of not talking. So I made sure that I took my power back, and I reserve it for myself, and said, it's okay. As much that I actually loved him, it was actually my energy that made him special in my eyes. Because
And he was beginning to take your voice. And once he took your voice, what was going to happen?
he was going to use that against me and control me.
And you were going to become less appealing. Because what he
Exactly.
liked about you in the beginning, he's removing based on his jealousy. It's a very interesting circle. So
Yes.
tell us a little bit more. If a client comes to you with that kind of a circle going on, what exactly does this modality look like? What happens in a session?
Okay. So we're going to go back to hypnosis. So, okay, I want to put it out there to the people. Hypnosis is actually not what you see on TV. Hypnosis, it doesn't mean that you don't have control over your environment. It means that you're in a relaxed state of it's your when you're in theta brainwave. It's a relaxed, your nervous system is relaxed. So just before you go to bed, like just before you enter deep sleep, right? That's the theta part is the hypnosis part. So you can imagine hypnosis will never make you do things that is against your moral compass. So let's say if I put you on hypnosis, Tanya, after this, you're gonna go and rob Bank of America. You're not gonna do that. You're not gonna
because
do
it's
that.
against my moral compass to do that. I wouldn't do it.
Exactly. You wouldn't do it. But it's actually, I'm bringing you back to your subconscious, because our minds, they operate on two, right? Two sides, conscious and unconscious. Conscious, we're talking right now. We're very aware of our environment. You're in your studio. I'm in my house, and that's conscious. But unconscious is the recorder that's recording our environment, our beliefs, what we hear, our daily, commute 24/7. So if you're not mindful of that, Tanya, and if you're not aware, you're recording everything good and bad 24/7 for all your life. So let's say, simplest example, money does not grow on trees. Money is difficult. Money is difficult to get hold of course you're gonna think that, yeah, shoot, I have to work my ass off, double, triple, quadruple jobs just to get to where I need to be. It's because of your limiting belief. So the modality of RTT goes to where, when, and how. Say mommy brought me to you're basically a childhood. Again, I'm using my example to that store. Mommy doesn't grow on tree. Why does mommy said doesn't grow tree? Because it was actually conditioning from her previous generation. And they only, because they're also parents this first time, and they only knew what they knew then.
Yes.
So it is up to us. Yeah.
So my father was raised by somebody who went through the Depression. And
Mm,
his understanding of money was, you know, that you save. You very carefully save. And
exactly.
then my father had a belief that the money will come, it will show up. His actions said, you very carefully save. So his
Mm,
belief and
mm,
his actions were somewhat different. It has served him well. It has not been a problem,
yeah.
but his was not always taking the safe road like his parents did, but he got that savings component of you do the action of saving, which has served my whole family well. And then he looks at me and he says, I was never comfortable being an entrepreneur. I was never comfortable not having that steady paycheck, having to
Yeah.
get different jobs, all those types of things. So it's that I can see it, that kind of growth model. And he's been extremely supportive, but it's something that he just, in his own understanding, he can't grasp.
No.
So I can see where you're going with, okay, what were the childhood statements that got said to you that even though you don't really remember them, they got internalized? So we're in hypnosis, we're walking through those childhood statements, then what happens?
So that's when I start uncovering, why do you feel that way? And normally it is because you're no longer conscious, it's your unconscious in full activated mode. So why do I say, what makes you feel this way? What makes you feel that money doesn't grow in trees? Then you start talking, oh, because mom says so. Why does mom says so? Because that's what being told, um, uh, to her all her life. So, and then you start understanding. So usually people come to me with the issue that, hey Nick, I can't sleep. Okay, for example, hey Nick, I can't sleep. Why can't you sleep? Is because I'm thinking about so many things. Why you regress again? Why are you thinking about so many? This is all happening in hypnosis. I'm not going to name, yeah, the individual, but why can't you see? It's because I'm comparing myself to other people. Why are you comparing yourself to other people? Because they actually at this age, they got this job, they got this car, they got this house. And then, okay, so it's actually his problem. When he came to me, it was he said insomnia. But when we regress back to his childhood, it's because that he was carrying this burden over the shoulder, that the parents always wanted him to be to be like the breadwinner, and to show the people around in the city or in where he was from, that he is the golden child. But
Mm,
deep down, deep down, he was struggling, and he was tying his self-worth, he was tying his achievement, the worthiness of himself to receive all the blessings, by the condition, the limited conditioning of the society placed upon him, and especially his parents being the biggest, I would say, rock in his life, or supporter, or the person that has the most influence on him. So
mhm.
once he understood that, the current issue, um that he's facing today, is actually much deeper than just insomnia. Now he knows that there is a you can reframe your mind. So if you, as long as you go into your subconscious, get through the root causes of why you feel a certain way about something, about yourself, about work, about life even, and then we reframe that mindset, we transform you from there onwards. Because as you know, scientific studies have shown, proven that neuroplasticity exists, placebo effect exists. And also I want to add this on, Tanya, don't you think that everything that you prayed for today or before, you have them today?
Yeah, and I can see answered prayers. Let's go back to neuroplasticity.
Mm-hmm.
There's a great book by Benjamin Hardy called Personality Isn't Permanent. So we've learned a lot about neuroplasticity. How are you helping people take those statements that are, it's like a record playing over and over, so ingrained that they're able to use that neuroplasticity, which means the flexibility of the nervous system, to change it? How do you help them actually change it?
the mind, everything is in the mind. Her principle of mentalism, number one. So everything that you have in this reality right now is in the mind. And I can tell you, and you probably know already, Tanya, that the mind is powerful tool, and it is highly suggestible. So when you're when you're in that theta brain wave state, you're in hypnosis. If you could just close your eyes at the time, if I tell you that you have this juiciest, most mouth-watering lemon in your mouth right now, few seconds later, you'll be salivating. So your mind is highly suggestible in that state. And this is why hypnosis is so cool and so powerful in transforming and unlocking and understanding how the connection was made from your childhood to your present issue. So yeah, so and I can give you so many examples.
Give us a couple examples
Yeah.
of them.
So if you put, okay, so if those listening and they're not watching the video, you have your two of your I'm clenching my fist. So my right hand is and you're under hypnosis. Your right hand is on. If I'm telling you, you have this the heavy a bale of sand on your left head right now, and you have this leather I was feather on your right hand side. And then the moment when I encourage you and say that this is it, you're holding this so heavy you can't even pull it up, and you start seeing seconds after that, it'll start
The
separating
hands splitting.
itself.
Yes.
Yes, that it's one's going up and one's going up. Who's asking you to do it? And you know very well that you're not holding any pill before you started the session, right? So, and then there's another one where you put, and I'm sure, I don't know, I've seen this couple of times in videos where, okay, now you stretch your hands as far wide back as you can, right? But then after a few seconds, you start saying that after this, I want you to imagine and visualize that you can actually go, 20% further than that. And the answer, the answer, yes, you can, and you will, because what you envision it. So now that's the power of belief and the power of neuroplasticity that just shows that your synapses in the brain can be rewired. So if you're already if you're conditioning yourself to saying that, hey, I'm not good enough, your brain is going to think, yeah, oh, yes, you are right, you're not good enough. If you are, yes, I am worthy, then of course it's going to be very foreign to the brain, but it's not impossible. You can rewire. You just need to take those steps towards that direction.
And biblically, in the biblical context, it's take all your thoughts captive. Think on what is good and noble and what is true. Mm-hmm. Who do we speak to more than ourselves?
We are with ourselves for the rest of our lives. Not even our partner, not even our kids, not even our parents. No. So
if a person works with you, what does it look like? I mean, is it a long-term therapy? Is it a short-term process? How does it look for the people you've worked with already?
So I take them on a 3-month program, 6 months, and even a year. So and then for a year, there's this retreat that I'm planning next year, 2025. So for 3 years, for 3 months, it's 3 sessions of RTT with me, but then of course a one-to-one coaching as well. So I couple it with my holistic coaching. So RTT clears up the trauma to make sure you really get to the root of it. Understand that, this is not, we're pulling the weeds from the ground. We're taking out the limiting beliefs, the self-doubt and lack of confidence. For example, why can't you speak in front of the public? Maybe you've been humiliated before, right? Why? So after that is how do you sustain it, and how do you create your lifestyle that you want? So it's the two-prong of my work, 2 parts of how I work with my clients.
So they'd meet with you 3 times a week? Is that what I'm hearing you say?
Three times, not 3 times a week. So if it's 3 months, it's one time every week. There'll be a session with me. We're gonna go through the RTT first. So it depends on the issue that they're coming to me with. So if it's a more complex issue, then of course it has to have three to a few more sessions. So because this is rapid, so it's rapid transformational therapy. It's rapid because because the like I said, the brain is powerful. Once you understand the issue, you can unlock it and you can change it. So I come in and guide you to see, okay, what do you want? If I have a magic wand right now, how do you it's a clean slate. Yeah. Tell me what you want. And I want you to go as berserk as you can because we are limitless. Come and create with me. And it's in your own words, yeah, not my words, because it is more powerful when whatever that you say, you believe.
Absolutely.
So yeah.
So tell us some of the topics that you work with. What are topics that people come to you with?
Self-esteem, loss of a relationship, and I would say health, maintaining wealth, and just overall being the authentic self. So again, this is an umbrella of a lot of things. So if I got a friend who came to me for the issue that he couldn't sleep. Again, it all comes down to him not feeling not worthy, lovable, and I'm different. I can't connect. So when you're different, then I make them see, for example, where you're different, why are you different? We are actually made to be different because everybody is unique. The moment that you're born in this on earth, the snapshot of the cosmos is only for you. So even your twin after that, it's a different snapshot.
Right.
I don't know, Saturn could move a little bit, a degree to the right or to the left, right? So that in of itself already says that you are worthy and you're enough to take space on earth. You matter because you're a matter. You're matter. So yeah.
Right. That's awesome. Tell us where we can find you, how you get yourself set up, and I'm assuming that you do most of this virtually.
Yes, virtually. And it can be done. It is done. Yeah, I do this virtually. So my clients are all over the world. So yes, if anybody's out there who wants to reach out, who's resonating, and they can go to my website. There's a clarity call. We can talk about what's actually the issue, what's plaguing you. And it's www.thenicknierrasholisticlifestyle.com. And I am on LinkedIn, Instagram, holistic lifestyle _ with Nick. I also have a podcast. I bring on different people. I'm in pursuit of self-knowledge, because once you're in there, you're never gonna go back. Because once you're on that path, you just want to know more, and you want to know more, and then because the only true path is to inwards, because everything you're the universe experiencing yourself. So yes, coming back to the how people can reach out to me, and you can also text me via WhatsApp. I'm available. So all of this are on my website.
Awesome. So for somebody who's struggling today with either things they can't control, or that sense of shame or low self-esteem, what is something they could do today that would help them step forward?
Okay, start the journey. Okay, I normally prescribe. I said prescribe, no medication. Okay, just I'd say, okay, Nicolette, say it's that person is me. Nicolette, if you were to take off all of the accolades that you have received right now, or the guilt that's placed upon you, let's say you are sorry if this is a trigger to anybody listening, you are maybe have been sexually abused, right? If you were to strip all of that from you, who are you as a person? What do you bring to the table if you don't have any of this? Say the good side, you earn whatever your status in the society, or on the other end of the spectrum, you have been probably sexually abused. But at your core, if you were to strip off all of this, the good and the bad side, who are you? Do you feed the cats on the side of the road, or do you go to the homeless people? I'm just giving you example. Who are you as a person? Because I truly believe that we it's not truly believe, we are actually made of love, and that is who we are. We are just, fear is just masking on top of us, guilt, shame, because of what happened to us. And we never wanted for those things to happen. Like I didn't want to get into my marriage just to get divorced, right? But I felt that way because of the conditioning that I placed upon myself, that I needed to, say, get better or get ahead with my peers. And so for those people who's actually struggling right now, look at one thing. If you're struggling to even find that silver lining, did you call your mom today? If you did, you are a good person. You are a good person and you matter. Okay, so it's now just taking that step, put one foot in front of the other, and make that choice. And one more thing, Tanya, it's to be still. This is free. Breathing air is free, and we take it for granted.
Yes.
Okay, so all I'm saying here is that it's tying back to gratitude. Like, even if you're in the worst of circumstances, yes, I know I do not wish upon what's happening in the world where we're very privileged, right? But God has given us another opportunity today to speak to the person next to us, or to breathe the air, eyes open, able-bodied, you're not limping, you don't have broken toes and whatnot. That's just proof that, hey, you can still march on. It's still not the end.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Nick, thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. I know it's very early where you are. Thank you for being here and taking the time to do that. And we will have all the links below. Really appreciate you.
And you asked incredible questions. Thank you so much for having me. Appreciate it.
You, beloved listener, are creative, resourceful, and whole. Do you want to add more purpose to your sober journey? Do you want to make room for the new and make your dreams a reality? Apply today for a dream session. Go to tanyagioia.com. That's TANYAGIOIA.com and apply today. Let's get you dreaming about your new purpose.